I'm not sure how much more clean, clear, precise, exact, obvious I can make this entire construct and show you in the perfect symbolism. I've taken all of the old documents, everything that you could find in this archaic ancient literature, and all of these graphs and all of these writings of the alchemists and all of the ancient wisdom. And I've displayed it here, and I'm going to do what none of them have done, because you can't hear them anymore, so I'll explain it to you. If this chart doesn't perfectly show you what's happening, where you are, show you the perceived duality, what density is, who you are as a magician, how life works, the levels of consciousness, it is all encoded right here. This is one of the master maps. As a cartographer, as an architect, you architect within this space. I'm giving you the map of your reality right here. This is all of it. Yeah, there's more pieces to it, but this is the construct. And I'll give you a little while just to look at it. And then I'll once again speak forth abracadabra. I'll show you, explain to you philosophically, metaphysically, physically, and spiritually what exactly all of these images mean, but you should be able to figure it out. This is as simple as the imagery can be, while at the same time being very explicit. Everybody can look at their flower of life and understand that it means something, but it really means nothing. It has no imagery, it's just a simple picture. But this is what it looks like in reality. This is what it looks like in actuality. This is where you live. This is how you create, where it comes from, where you were, where you're going. So here at the bottom left-hand corner, that's where you started. You can see Saturn, because Saturn is the farthest thing from the sun. Saturn has to do with sat, or salt. That's why there's a covenant with Saturn and salt. Saturn is the sixth, as they say, planet. It's the sixth day of the week, before the Sunday, before the seventh day. Saturn Day, the sixth day of the week, 6 is the cube, because a cube has 6 sides. The 6 is a hexagram. Saturn is identified with a hexagram, and a witch can put a hex on you. Saturn is connected to lead. This is why you write with a pencil that has lead in it. This is why you shoot bullets with lead in it, because it has to do with writing, and it has to do with death, as a bullet will kill you. And we could even get into the silver bullet, but we won't do that here. Let's just stick to the images on the page. So the connection to salt is God made man so man could become God. You know that you're the salt of the earth. The salts are the lowest, densest form. If we walk up the side of the page, those are the 3 levels, the 3 densities: solid, liquid, and gas. Solid, liquid, and air. And in air, it's oxygen. In water, it's oxygen and hydrogen. And in earth, it's the denser materials. It's the salts. And the salts and the denser materials you often see in the sea. And so that is the density that brings something down to a lower realm. But what rises into the air is called mist. This is where you get the term mystic. And it's misty because it's going from water to oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen are starting to pull apart. This has to do with the 4th phase, or easy water. Looking at Gerald Pollack's work. But as the air rises and separates from the water and the mist occurs, the salt drops down back to the earth where the dense things reside. Now this mist can rise towards the moon and towards the sun, and we'll get to that in a little while. But this connection to the moon, once again, on the left-hand side of the page, its connection to money, where you get the word moon, moony, and money, and the moons. It even has a connection magnetically and magically, and with the feminine, because the feminine is connected to the cycles of the moon and the salt water in her system. As I've explored and explained before what the salt is, we're not going to do that fully here, but the suggestion is that immortality does not include salt in your diet. In your deity, your diet is your deity. If you want to be of the earth, then continue with the salt. That's just fine. If we look at the bottom of the page and we go from left to right, we find the densest realm being your skeletal system, or the skeleton, the body, and then you move to the mind, which is a higher state. So we could say it's a physical world, and then we could say it's a metaphysical world. And then we could look at the farthest to the right and see the spirit, or the spiritual world. It's the 3 levels of your existence. Someone that is connected totally and completely to their physical hedonistic desires, which are connected to the moon and Saturn. Or someone that is connected to their brain and the metaphysics. They have control over things with their brain to be able to control the things that are underneath them. So just as air rises above water and water rises above the salts, the brain rises above the dense physical skeletal body, and the spirit rises even above that. As we explore these black and white scenarios that are on the checkerboard or chessboard, they always tell you that black and white exists and we live in a dual system, and there's 7 colors. But once again, as I've always explained, there are at least the 9 colors. Black and white are colors. Clear is the absence of color. The sun spits out not white light, but clear light. If the sun spit out white light, you wouldn't be able to see. So the black and white scenario is the priestcraft. The priests wearing the white jackets that offer you the white pill that looks exactly like a wafer, that is given to you from the religious faction, which wears black. So the scientists or the Zionists and the religious folk are all under the same guidance of the same architecture, and they all play their part on a board. And they're lower realm because they're controlled by density. And as you look at the connection to where they are next to the moon controls energetic systems that do with salt. and medals. This is why people get medals for doing a good job. The medals that you get in the triangle when you stand on top of the pyramid, when you go to the Olympics. So as we see this black and white scenario, they're both low level, and they're bringing you to a faulty and low level spiritual idea. Now, as you move up into the higher realms, the mist becomes confusing because it's very gray and cloudy, and it's hard to see. So, in the mist, it can be confusing to figure out who is a mystic of the moon and who is a mystic of the sun. The moon is a secondary energy system. The sun, we can clearly see that if you were to go up and remove the sun from the sky, everything would die. If you were to remove the moon from the sky, I don't think that would happen. So, the moon as a secondary system, a secondary matrix of energy, control, and architecture down here on the realm that we are, it's one path. But it is controlled, as is everything, as the sun is the actual spraying of organic reality. This is why plants grow because of the sun, because they're organic. There's life in it. But the moon and its magnetic persuasion on metals and salt is the connection to the moon and Saturn and salt. This is why there is a Monday or a moon day, and you see that the first day of the week to be week, and the last day of the week, which you would call the weekend, the first day of the weekend, is Saturn Day. Saturn Day and Moon Day sandwich in Sunday. Sunday is the first day before the week. So you see the connection between what the moon is and what Saturn is, even on the calendar. So the expression of what you are with your two paths in your hand, the left and right path, one is architected through a moon matrix called monotheism, and another path is to script your own life. Nonetheless, both of them are of lower density because they use the papacy, the paper, and the earth to produce reality. As you even look at this, you live in 3 densities right now. Your feet are on the earth, your body is full of water, or at least it should be, and your head is in the sky with airy thoughts, connected to higher levels of consciousness. So to activate your light body, you need light. And the energy of light comes through the sun, and it comes through the living organisms and plant life. This is why a lot of people can find a certain source of energy, electricity, and flux of life through vampiric natures, which is the consumption of blood, because it surely does have energy and charge. But that is more of a path connected to the energy of the moon because of the karmic connection to the earth that is already there. So you can only get to a certain level because of the connection to the animals that are being harvested for their blood. So when you get to this mist level, getting through there, what the connection is to the mermaids and the sea and the water, is to get out of that level is just as hard because of all of the temptations of the physical world, which is always connected to the money and the moon. And it's a very dense realm. So as you go through the mist, it can be confusing as to what is on the other side of that mist, what light you see, because the moon does produce a light. It produces a light in something. But that mist, the sun also produces a light behind it. They don't look too different, because the watery substrate that is between you and the source of light, it can look the same, even though the moon is more of a secondary source of light. It's almost as if the sun charges the moon and then the moon charges you. And I mean that in a very specific way of charging, as in a monetary system. So, the connection to having a physical life on different dimensions and levels is exhibiting yourself and participating in the solar energy of the sun, which fluxes through the moon. So it's not about not having currency in the physical world. It's about where you're getting your physical money from. It's the idea that if you chase the goddess of money, the goddess of wisdom will run away. But if you chase the goddess of wisdom, the goddess of money will follow. Now, if you look at the sun as the goddess of wisdom, and you follow that path, then the money and the moon will surely have to follow. Because if you consider it from either model that you have in your mind of a geocentric or a heliocentric model, one of these figures in the sky is following the other. And in a heliocentric model, the sun is moving somewhere and everything follows it. So that would be the path. If you take your eye off of the sun and look at the moon, it's a denser, grayer light. It's a secondary source. So leave this up for a minute or two more, and you guys can take a look at it again and see if it resonates with you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Go dip over to Reality Files. We'll be doing a lot of cool things there. Always expanding consciousness. Helping you to realize yourself as a magician, so you can improve your life and the people's lives around you, and to become a source of light yourself. Not having to rely on other things. Becoming a capacitor for all of the energy that you can hold within you. We'll teach you how to charge yourself, how to energize, how to be a portal, how to get out of body. A lot of cool things going on over there. Come join us.